Gentlemen, nice to see you again. You just called me a bit short there, trying to fix up my hair. Because there isn't much worse than spending ages doing your hair in the morning, getting it looking absolutely prime, and by the time you arrive at work, it's a floppy mess. I get asked this question far too much. How do I get my hair to stay in place all day long? And frankly, I see too many guys there with thick, disgusting, crispy-like gel in their hair and an attempt to sort of fix it in position. This video is definitely needed. 5 tips to make your hair stand up and stay in place all day long. Tip number 1, get volume, lots of volume. This was really the key to bigger hair for me. Before I was focusing on volume, I was sort of having my hair down and expecting this sort of quiff to hold itself up by itself. If you've got any sort of raised hairstyle, you've got to have the rest of the hair in place, big, supporting it. And the thing is, having massive volume also helps greatly against wind, because otherwise, if the wind blows and you haven't got good structure and volume in your hair, it's just going to go flying in the other direction. It's going to pretty much ruin all the time you spent in the morning. First product I'd recommend for this, every single guy needs volumizing mousse. And you've got to use this in tandem with a hairdryer as well. Apply this to wet hair, use the hairdryer to blow it dry, and boom, your hair will plump up instantly. You can use pretty much any volumizing mousse for this. My personal favourite is the Schwarzkopf Super Soft one, because it never goes crispy. And if that's still not enough voluminous effect, you can also add volumizing powder. This comes in many different forms. This stuff is also great for you guys who've got thin hair and you still struggle to get your hair in position. You can pour a bit of this, looks like cocaine in all honesty, guys. You just push this into your hair, drop it in, and then rub it right in. I don't want to rub too much in because my hair was already in quite a good position, but it really thickens up the hair and makes it really wind resistant as well. Tip number 2, use a strong hold product. And the thing is, fellas, not all hair products were created equal, unfortunately. Even some that advertise as a strong hold simply aren't. My favourite and most reliable hair product, Pete and Pedro Putty, definitely does the job. It's pricey, but it freaking works, guys. And with this stuff, I don't have to take any of my products to work and then do it again at work, because this lasts all day. Get a little bit, rub it between your palms, get it right into the roots of the hair, and then get it into position, and you'll be left with a great result. But if that great product still isn't enough, maybe you've got really thin and horrible hair, there is another thing that you can use as well. Some of you may think this is ladylike, but I like to fix it in place with hairspray. And if you guys aren't using hairspray, then you need to go out there and have a look, because there's quite a lot of different designs that are out there specifically for men now. Because if you've got a mountainous quiff, it's never going to hold in position with just product alone. Now, there are a couple of different types of hairspray. My personal favourite is, again, the Schwarzkopf Super Soft. And I'm not sponsored by these guys at all. This is just the stuff that I think leaves the best lasting effect, because it leaves your hair nice and soft and people can't tell that you've got hairspray in. But I have tried the other end of the spectrum, the sort of glue it in position style hairspray, such as this one, which is also Schwarzkopf. It's a different one of their ranges. This stuff, in my opinion, is sort of like a spray-on fixing gel. Now, I don't really like this stuff quite as much as the other stuff, and the reason for that is, although after you initially spray it on, it holds perfectly in place like a photograph, after a while it does start to crumble a little bit, because it's sort of like a gel texture. It leaves your hair a little bit dry and crispy, and if your hair does eventually start to fall down, you can't pull it back up into position because it was so crunchy to begin with. Tip number 4, avoid wind when possible. Now, in some countries and certain times of the year, hurricane season maybe, this isn't going to be possible. But for most of you guys out there, it probably is. So let's say, for instance, you want to go to a place that's quite far away. Instead of maybe going on your bike or walking all the way there, taking the car instead. It might seem lazy, but it will not expose your hair to the elements quite as much. You could also go with a generally shorter hairstyle as well. Although someone like me, I don't really like the sort of boring aspect of having a really short all over hairstyle. It's just not for me, and it's not for my face shape. And the final tip, tip number 5, I wish I could tell every guy in the nightclub this: stop fiddling with your hair. I guess it was what I was doing at the start of the video, fellas, as just a joke, but there's so many guys who I'll see doing this constantly, fiddling like this and that. And if you've got really thick hair, then you might be able to get away with doing this, but for anyone else, it's just going to gradually ruin the position of your hair for a while. Once you've applied all the previous steps, then you shouldn't need to fiddle with this. It should pretty much stay in position no matter what. But of course, if you're wearing a hat, a helmet, or one of your mates decides to ruffle it up, then of course you have got to get it back into position if that's what you want. There is also one video I'd definitely like to recommend to you guys. If you've watched till this stage, you'll definitely want to watch my sort of hair volume tutorial, because a lot of the tips there, I'll practically show them to you, and if you've got good volume, that's the basis for good hold all day. So I'll link that one in the end screen, as well as in the cards and in the description as well, fellas. If you enjoyed today's video, fellas, hopefully you found it useful and now your hair is still in position by the end of this video. Make sure you like the video, and also if you're new around here, you want to see similar videos to this to do with men's style, grooming, well-being. I upload 3 times a week, every single week, so make sure you subscribe for those videos, and I'll see you on the next one.